Welcome back to my studio. My name is Monica. Today, I thought we could spend a little bit of time talking about some really great books. Now, the first set of books that I'm going to be talking about are for creatives, and that can be any type of creative. So it doesn't have to be somebody that does painting specifically. These are not like how to paint books. These are more about creativity and a creative mindset. And so we'll be going over those. I have about 5 of those, and they are by far some of my favorite books or my Bibles as far as creativity goes. Then we're going to move on to some books that inspire. Now, if you're an artist that loves nature, I'm going to show you some of the books that inspire me. And then I have a few how-to books that I really love and I'm always pulling out and referring to. So let's get to these books. This first stack that we're going to talk about, these are books that I would consider for anybody and everybody, because we all are creative, and it doesn't matter if you're creative in the kitchen cooking or sewing clothes. It can be anything. We are all born out of creativity, so we all innately are creative. So these books are for all of us, especially if you want to start to develop a creative practice for yourself. Doesn't matter whether you write or sew or knit, paint, it's applicable to everybody. And of course, this is the book that I would recommend to anybody and everybody. And this is Julie Cameron, and I read this book a long time ago, and I have referred back to it many, many times, and it is so chock full of information. If you have this book, you refer back to it all the time. There are quotes in here. There are exercises to do. And then she also has The Vein of Gold, which is the second book, which is also very, very good. And there are a lot of takeaways in both of these books. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time. I could talk about these books for probably, 20 minutes each, but I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet as I can. This next book I actually found in a store that I go to. It's like a metaphysical shop. It has tarot cards and oracle decks and crystals. And I found this book on the shelf and I absolutely love it. And it's by Philippa Stanton, and it's called Conscious Creativity. And she has a bunch of amazing exercises in here that you can do. And this is just, play. This is really just play to get yourself back into this state of playing and, being free to explore and be curious. So this is a really wonderful book. And I will be sure to leave links to all of these books in the description box below too. Now this book, the Book of Alchemy, I just got this book, and this is a creative practice for an inspired life. It is a wonderful book. You can see where I'm at. Now, this is not the type of book that you just read through. You read one of the entries every day, and then it offers some journal questions, and then you journal. And sometimes I'll journal for 5 minutes, and sometimes 15, 20 minutes. It just really depends on the day, but I've been doing this for about 25 days now, and it's really a wonderful book. And I bought her other book too, Between Two Kingdoms, which I have not yet read, but this is really a wonderful book. And these two books, and I know I don't know if it's pronounced Patty Dig, but they are both from her. Creative is a Verb and Life is a Verb. And she has a wonderful way of storytelling, and it's really fun to read. She has a lot of anecdotes and funny little stories in here and exercises you can do. And what I love about both of these books is that It's just free and open. There are no hard and fast rules. You can pick and choose to do what you want to do out of these books. And I love this on the front of the book, that if you're alive, you're creative. And I couldn't agree more. So if, you've been wanting to explore that side of yourself, then you definitely need to grab some of these books. And the last book that I want to talk about, that I do not have a copy of in front of me because it's on the way here, but I've already listened to the audiobook. It's called We Need Your Art by Amy McNee, and you can see I'm popping up a picture of it so that if you want to order it, you know what it looks like. I ordered a hard copy or a physical copy of the book because the book has journal questions in it. And sometimes when I'm listening to audiobooks, I want to refer back to the book. And I think this is a book that I'm going to read several times and just leave it on my desk, really. It's that good. That's probably my number one recommended book for creatives this year, definitely. And if you are able, I would suggest getting the audiobook and the hard copy. And the reason I say that is that Amy is the one that narrates the book, and she just, because it's in her authentic voice, it really drives home the point. I love listening to her, and she has such a wonderful attitude and a perspective that it just kind of seeps into you when you're listening to the book. It's really, really worth the listen. It's very inspiring, and it's very kind of, light a fire under your butt kind of book. So that is a definite yes. And I saved that one for last because I really wanted to talk about that book. Okay, so moving on to the next books. The next list of books is going to be about books that inspire me. So I am very into nature and nature journaling, as you know, and I have a stack of books here. And I just received this one from my mom as a gift. And this is the kind of book, these are the kind of books that are very inspiring. Whether you're looking at pictures, thumbing through a book, or reading a book, these, to me, provide a lot of inspiration, and it's just really nice to be able to grab a book and, a cup of coffee or some tea and sit down and just be truly inspired and to look at something beautiful. And this book is definitely that, and it's called The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, and it is amazing. And the next book, and this is just such a sweet book, and I love this artist. Her name is Marjolaine Baston, and this book has been around for a while, and I'm pretty sure you can still get it. And I know she's got another book out that I want to order as well. But this is really, when I look through her book, this is what I feel like I want to aspire to. Everything that she paints is so sweet, and it just pulls you in. And how can you not love this, right? This is a book that I look through all the time. And we think that our art sometimes, doesn't matter or doesn't make a difference until you pick up a book like this, and then you realize, yes, it does. This makes me feel, really happy when I look through a book like this. Just all of the beautiful color and her beautiful illustrations. So if you love nature like I do, and little animals and plants, this is a definite must. Now this one is a little bit different than the other books that I have here in this pile. The Yin Yang of Painting. This is a beautiful book, first of all. He's an amazing artist, but he breaks down basically the chi of paintings when it comes to this push and pull between, it could be value, it could be transparency. It could be color palette. But this is just a beautifully inspiring book. And I've looked through this book many, many times. It's one that I highly recommend. I'm not sure if you can get it on Amazon anymore. I would assume you can. If I find it on Amazon, I will definitely link it. But yeah, it really is. It's an amazing book. It says Secrets of Painting Found in Ancient Chinese Philosophy. So this next book is called Drawn to Birds, and it's a naturalist sketchbook. And I want to say, I don't want to, I'm going to butcher her name. I'm pretty sure it's Jenny DeFau Goder. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And if you're interested in birds and the anatomy of birds and keeping a nature journal, this is definitely a must. I find this incredibly inspiring because I like to nature journal. I like to look at how she's laid things out and the positioning of things. Even the lettering is extremely helpful to look at, and what type of notes that she takes. And not only that, but the artistry as well, the color palettes, just how things are laid out, any sort of sketches that she's done on the side. It's a gorgeous book. And this is another one of those books, like the other few books that I just showed you, that it's just nice to sit down with a cup of tea and thumb through it and be inspired. So these next two books are books to read. And The Comfort of Crows, I read a little bit every day. It's one of those types of books. It's not really a book that is meant to be read front to back, like in a couple hours. I find that reading a little bit every day out of this book is a way to kind of savor it. And Margaret Rankle is a poet, and she is talking about her backyard year every week. She'll annotate a little bit, and they're not very long, but it's definitely something to think about, and it's wonderful to see somebody else's perspective as far as nature goes. And I can't recommend this book enough. It is. Ann Patchett says, a howling love letter to the world, and it most certainly is. I love this. I could go on and on when it comes to nature books, but I really tried hard to keep this to a minimum, and I'm already thinking about books that I forgot. And if you get a chance to read Robin Wall Kimmerer, Braiding Sweetgrass, and she has a new book out called The Serviceberry, which I'm reading. I've got a bunch of books going on at the moment, so check her out too. And the final book, and I don't know that you can get this on Amazon anymore. If you find a copy of it, snag it, because these usually go for quite a bit of money, and I am lucky enough to have one. But it's Herbal Rituals by Judith Berger, and if you love to read books like this about nature in a very poetic style voice, then you will absolutely love this book. And it is broken down by month. But one of the wonderful things about this book is that as she goes through the month of January, let's say, she starts to talk about different plants like garden sage, and then she has recipes in here for a facial steam, or sage butter, sage vinegar, sage foot baths, and then she moves on to thyme, and she's got some other recipes in here, and then she moves on to another month. And I have referred back to this book a lot, and there's something beautiful about becoming very in sync with the natural cycles and of nature, and this book really dives into that, and it is written exceptionally well also. So now the final books are specific to painting or drawing. They're more how-to books, and I would be remiss if I didn't include this book. It is Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards, and this is the book that really taught me how to draw. I was self-taught. I started when I was in my late 20s. I already had 2 kids, and I would sit at the kitchen table and I would do the exercises out of this book. And this is really, when you mention this book to any artist, this is somewhat of a Bible. It is a wonderful book, and it helps you to get over the initial fear of, I can't draw anything, I can only draw stick figures. Well, she goes through all of that, and she explains that it's, what happens in your brain and which side of the brain. Obviously, the right side of your brain is the side of your brain that you use when you're drawing, and how your brain interprets certain symbols and why we draw the things that we automatically draw. And then she also gives you some exercises in here to get past those bits of brain programming so that you can take this as far as you want. She even goes through, perspective, lessons on perspective. And I still have my old sketches from my kitchen that I did. And then she talks about the masters and shading. It is a beautiful book. It is a must-have if you're considering learning how to draw, a must-have. And this one is called Hand Lettering for Relaxation by Amy Latta. And I started hand lettering when, I can't remember when I started. I think I got interested in it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And when I was doing more illustrative type artwork, and this book is a one-stop shop for learning how to do everything from banners to borders, different kinds of letters. And if I feel like I haven't done any lettering in a while, I always come back to this book, always, because there are so many different ideas in here on how to put lettering together as far as different fonts go, how to add borders, just anything and everything. This is a really, really good book. And she even gives you an empty page so that you can do all of your practicing. So I have, used up a lot of these pages to practice. It's a really great book, and I go back to it time and time again. So the final book that I want to talk about is specific to watercolor, and it's called Creative Watercolor, and it's by Anna Victoria Calderon. And she is first of all, she's a wonderful teacher. You can find her on Skillshare. She has a ton of classes. I would highly recommend it if you're new to watercolor to take her classes, or if you just want to explore watercolor in all of its glory. I would definitely suggest taking her classes. But this book is a nice step-by-step book on really getting started with watercolor. And what I like so much about her books, and the reason I was so drawn to her, is that with watercolor usually comes a lot of rules. And I know that when I was in art school, we had a very large list of rules when it came to watercolor and what you could and couldn't do. And I feel like this book and her other books that she has out, it just kind of takes all of that and pushes it to the side and talks about what you can do with watercolor and not so much what you can't do. It takes the rules and kind of tosses them to the side. And Anna is an illustrator, so it's a little bit of a different style of artwork, but it is beautiful and it is vibrant, and there are no don'ts. And she shows you how to paint around, and she adds gold to, metallic watercolors. She does some lettering. She has some butterflies and name cards in here. And she works with glitter paint and, even goes over some some loose watercolor florals. And if you're looking to free up your watercolor style, I would suggest buying this book and watching her classes. It's a lot of fun, and that's what art should be. It should be fun, first and foremost. So that is my spiel on all of the books that I have pulled out, and I'm sure that there's going to be a part 2 to this probably next year when more books come out. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any suggestions, I would love it if you would drop them in the comment section below, because I'm always looking for new books, and it's helpful to other people that read the comments as well. And like I said, I will leave the links to these books in the description box below. And I think that pretty much wraps up this week. And I will see you again next week. So happy reading. Bye.